3 of us went to the hospital, but only 2 came home. Hi, I am Joe, a husband, a father, and now a grieving parent. My wife, Ellen, and I endured the deepest pain any parent could ever face. After 1 year of marriage, Ellen finally became pregnant, and just when we thought that was already the best news, we found out it was twins. We imagined double the laughter, double the blessing, double the love. But one didn't make it. Still, we clung to hope, for the little heart still beating inside Ellen. That tiny being would soon become our baby boy, Theo. Our case was considered a high-risk pregnancy, so I chose the best hospital, despite the overwhelming cost, because nothing mattered more than their lives. I ensured that they were well taken care of. We invested in medicines, consulted with the best doctor, and took consistent checkups. Pregnancy was going well for 27 weeks. Then the day came when everything changed. Ellen suddenly felt something was wrong. The doctor advised me to have her immediately checked. I rushed her to the hospital. But inside, Ellen was all alone. I wasn't allowed in. She was having unusual contractions. The doctor examined her, gave her oxygen, fluids, yet after a few minutes, which felt like hours, our baby was still having a non-reassuring heartbeat. In an instant, they rushed her to the labor room for an emergency C-section. She was given anesthesia, everything to prepare her for surgery. At that moment, it was just the 2 of them, Ellen and Theo, yet about to be separated. I could only imagine how terrified they must have been. And Theo, so safe in his mommy's womb 1 second, suddenly being pulled into a world he wasn't ready for. Outside, I prayed desperately. Each minute felt like an eternity. Every time the door opened, I hoped for a miracle. Finally, the doctor came out. She gave me a thumbs up. Success. She even showed me Theo's first picture. In that instant, I was filled with joy. I was finally a father, but my celebration was cut short. Yes, Theo made it to birth, but he was born extremely premature, so tiny. Compared to full-term babies, his body wasn't ready for a life outside the womb. They placed him gently inside an incubator, a fragile little fighter, surrounded by tubes and wires. His tiny chest struggled against respiratory distress syndrome, kept alive only by machines. Hearing those words, it broke me. When I finally saw him, my heart shattered. My son fighting with everything he had. I watched doctors revive him 6 times. 6 times. Each time, a flicker of hope, followed by heartbreak. While Theo fought for his life, I was everywhere, comforting Ellen in recovery, running to find money for hospital deposits, then rushing back to the NICU to see if Theo was still holding on. Every breath, every heartbeat, a painful struggle, and though he fought so bravely, his tiny body could no longer endure. At his last breath, I saw his tears fall. He really wanted to stay. That was the saddest moment of our lives, saying goodbye to our son too soon. I carried him for the last time and walked with him into the morgue. No father should ever go through that. We came home, not as a family of 3, but as 2. His nursery, his crib, his clothes, his bottles, his toys, once symbols of our dreams, now reminders of the future we lost. My son did come home, but only in a small urn of ashes. This tragedy left us grieving, traumatized, drowning in debt. I never felt so weak, so hopeless. And in that darkness, I almost gave in. The voices of despair grew louder than hope. But then a light broke through. I looked up, and I felt my son's presence, my guardian angel. He reminded me of the little fighter who endured so much pain just to give me the gift of fatherhood. And in that moment, I understood. I cannot give up. My son never did. He gave everything he had just to stay with us, even for just a short while. The least I could do was honor that fight by not wasting the life I still have. That's when I found my new purpose, to honor Theo. For as long as I live, my greatest fear is not just losing him, but that he might be forgotten. To the world, Theo may just be another story of child loss, but to us, his parents, his life will always be the greatest story of love, grief, and hope. So I began to transform my pain into something meaningful. With shaking hands, I sketched cartoons, wrote scripts, and in between, I cried. But from that brokenness, I created this video, this channel, this campaign, all for my only son. This grief is my greatest weakness, but it is also my greatest strength. I place my faith in God, my hope in the kindness of people, and I believe in the power of community. If Theo's story has touched your heart, I ask one thing: help me keep his memory alive. Like this video, share it with others. And if you're able, support Theo's campaign through the link in the description below. Thank you for staying with us until the end. May Theo's short but beautiful life reach places we never imagined. In loving memory of Theo.